Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all over the world. This is your host, Mad Max, for Mental Madness, episode number 6. I'm excited, guys. Not gonna lie, I'm really excited because today we're gonna be talking about a really good subject. Let's push some of that negativity aside for a little bit and get into some reality. That's our subject today, reality. What is reality? I think that if people really sit down and understand the fundamental nature of the universe and what really reality is, then we'll get to the point to where we start understanding that maybe all of this is just some school. Because I haven't studied physics or anything, but I'd like to consider myself what you would call an armchair theoretical physicist. Um, I think I go on these meditative experiences, and I have I guess you could call them kind of like thought experiments, like Einstein used to do. I kind of envision myself being places and seeing things that aren't here. So I know it kind of sounds crazy, but it's called remote viewing, and the military knows about it and they know how to use it. So it may sound crazy, but it's not. So I'll get to that point right now. That remote viewing is real and it is accurate and it can predict probable and possible future events. So I'm going to tell you right now that every single human being that can meditate has the capability of tapping into remote viewing. And remote viewing really starts to break down the science, and it starts to mix in with the spirituality. And you'll start seeing that they'll both start coming together. And you'll see, well, we can be logic, but we can also be a good heart, a good person, you know. So make rational decisions and be a good person at the same time. I know it's hard to do. I mean, it can be hard in some situations to do both. And sometimes you're forced to do one or the other. But if you can meditate, if you can work on remote viewing, if you can access pineal gland activation, then you can actually start seeing some of the things that I'm talking about that become reality. And that's the subject today, is reality. Because people have no clue, you know. People just think that we're just these creatures walking around on two legs on this planet, you know, doing whatever, survival of the fittest kind of bullshit. When in reality, if you break things down to a quantum level, string theory, the idea that everything that exists, all matter, all energy, is on a vibrating string field, broken down to its smallest, you know, particle. So you can keep zooming in and zooming in and zooming in until you can zoom in on a piece of your skin all the way down to its smallest component, and it'll be a string theory. It'll be a vibrating string of energy, wave or particle, an energetic process. People don't know this. Well, some people do. A lot of people should. I mean, these things are coming from some of the smartest ideas out there, some of the smartest scientists out there. And people are starting to realize, oh, well, everything at its smallest level really is just an energetic vibration energy. And that we are experiencing this holographic school-like experience. Much like a simulation, if you would call it that. What happens if you don't graduate a certain grade? If you don't pass a certain grade, you got to redo it. So, I mean, I think that's the process here on this planet as well. If you don't ascend, if you don't obtain the right amount of knowledge to access that next step of information, that next step of energetic information, which again is on a certain frequency, much like a radio. When you turn the radio to dial it to a certain station, it tunes into that frequency, and bam, you're right on it. You catch the person talking and singing. Same thing as with energy. There are certain frequencies of energy and densities, and people have, no idea what's going on. No idea. government uses things called Project Looking Glass, remote viewing. They've got all of this reverse engineered from extraterrestrial crafts and extraterrestrial technology. It sounds crazy, but it's fucking not. It's mental madness, folks. The universe you live in is a lot more wonderful than you think it is. It is not as hellish as we've been forced to believe it is. And we can't sit around and let this shit happen to us no more. There's free energy. There's more than enough resources for everybody. There's more than enough space for everybody. And there's more than enough time and knowledge for everybody to obtain, become a Type 2 civilization. Or even better. A civilization that goes out there and turns other civilizations into Type 2 civilizations. That benefits, that those other civilizations benefit from us, from our knowledge, from knowledge of good. And they can either take it or leave it. But it's not forced upon them. I mean, if they're technological enough to communicate with us, if we approach their planet, then it's not infringement of free will, because they have the technology to reach out to us as well. That's what I believe, I think. Now if they say get out of here, go. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. You know, I believe in people's and individuals and sovereignty overall. You know, people have the right to say and do what they want as long as it's not infringing on other people's free will, you know, or being a fucking asshole to other people or whatever. Excuse my language. There's a lot of douchebags out there. You know, but let's get to the positive stuff, guys, because I know there's a lot of negativity and evil, and it really sidetracks my mind, and I want to stay focused on the positive, which is that we are living in this vibrating energy field from the Big Bang, that's still expanding to this day, and that somehow we're consciously aware and we're in a solid state because the molecules somehow found a way to attach themselves the right way. The DNA molecules got off the ground, which is still a mystery to us today. How DNA got off the ground is beyond them. We don't understand yet. I don't think biologists truly understand how DNA got off the ground and into this physical body of a creature. So what it is, it's an information thing. It's much like when you conceive a child. The conception process is an energetic process of information. At its most fundamental and important level. And once the information is correct, adds up, makes sense, and is formed together properly, you have a beautiful baby, girl or boy, or a creature or a being of the planet or whatever. I don't know. All I know is I don't want to interfere with the creation of life. I want to improve life. Because right now, you know, with Monsanto and all these GMO, growth hormone bullshit, fucking shit that's in your food that, you know, you're kind of forced to eat unless you want to pay outrageous money for organic food. Because you don't have food stamps, because you can't, you know, can't go out there and just spend $600 on food, on food stamps. Which is fine, I'm willing to accept that, you know. Work hard to earn the things that I want and need. But at the same time, I think that we need to, you know, it's not about the free money that they're giving away. It's about the prices of the food. It's about the monetary value of food and of materialistic objects, period. Because everything, every object, every atom, everything at its most smallest fundamental core is just nothing more than string theory. It's just an energetic vibrating string floating there, connected to other energetic vibrating strings that clump together so much that form actual molecules and atoms that appear to be solid. But broken down, we have a very different picture. So, like I said, I'm not 100% accurate on all the physics part. I haven't gone to school for physics. I have done some school in computer science, but I haven't done anything in physics. But I have done a lot of research. I've done my own schooling, and I've done my own thinking, and I've done, like I said, I've done a ton of research. I've read a lot. I've watched a lot of interviews, and I've looked at a lot of scientific experiments and the notes and the doctors and who. I just, I was injured in the military, and I have memory problems, so I have to record everything, and it's a way for me to remember the things that I say and hopefully pass on to my children, because I might forget them someday, and I hope not. But it's important that everybody does something like this, because it's not my life is important to me, but what's really important to me is my children's life. What's really important to me is the future of humanity, because I see us tumbling down this very rocky slope, and it's emotional for me because I've been in combat situations where I've saved innocent people's lives, and I've experienced very evil actions. It's not right, man. It's not fucking right. I mean, we need to break out of the monkey shells and move into some angel wings, And when I say angel wings, I don't mean it in a religious way. I mean it more in an ascension way. And time to realize that you're much more, and you've been dumbed down for a long time. Cigarettes and alcohol and GMO in your foods and fluoride in your water, crops, what do you call it? Chemtrails. That's it. Chemtrails. Fukushima Daiichi plant exposing massive radiation. Chernobyl. All of the things that you've been exposed to over your lifetime and over the last several hundred years, the technology has taken off. We're seeing a massive spike in cancer. We're seeing a massive spike in diseases. We're seeing a massive spike in viruses. We're seeing a massive spike in weather changes. The earth will naturally recycle itself. It must. Otherwise it will not survive. And has the earth recycled itself before? Absolutely. Has it almost wiped us out before? Absolutely. Could it happen again? Abso-fucking-lutely. It's mental madness that you're running around thinking about shit when you really need to be concerning yourself with the future of mankind, with the future of your children, with the future of your children's children. You need to wake up and realize you are in a false paradox. You're in a fucking thought bubble. It's fucking mental madness, and it drives me up the wall, man. Drives me up the wall to see what the fuck's going on in this world, and to see what the fuck people do on a daily basis. And if they could just reascend and reawaken, we could literally live like gods, traveling to other planets, learning ancient knowledge that's been suppressed through secrecy. Dark cabal governments who pass information along, and you see all these governments with these secret organizations that keep secrets. It's fucking bullshit, man. If the people were really behind everything, if the people were really truly support the government, then the government doesn't need to be keeping secrets from them. I don't give a fuck. This political bullshit, monetary enslavement that we're in, it's terrible. And you need to wake up and realize that reality It's beautiful. It's wonderful. That the potential you have. And I know it sounds so fucking out there, man. I know it does. But science is starting to prove these things. With math, with algorithms, with proof, evidence. That the universe could be so much more. That this is just an illusion. That imagine the real reality. The higher, fourth density reality. In this 3D world that we live in. I think we're making the transition into fourth density. I think we're swinging into a new sector of the galaxy with which its energetic vibrations are much different. The age of Aquarius, this is what they call the zodiacs, the age of Aquarius. We're moving into the age of Aquarius, which is a new sector of the galaxy. And it could very well affect our energetic and it could affect everything. And could we become super intelligent? Could we ascend? Could we have a genetic bottleneck that mutates us for a benefit? Possibly. Could it destroy us as well? Possibly. Could be the Dark Ages again. But I think through history and all of the ancient writings, they talk about a golden age. Or Christians talk about the coming of Jesus. Or the time where he just takes over and destroys all evil. And really, I think this is just going to be a moment where people wake up and throw their petty bullshit ideas out the window. Like fucking NFL and fucking sports, which is competition. Because we need to get over this whole competition mentality. I'm better than you bullshit. Because each of us have something great to teach one another. And it ain't about, I'm better than you. Am I saying that you shouldn't play games? No. Am I saying you should get paid millions of dollars to play games? Absolutely fucking not. You don't need to be doing that shit. You need to be doing something else. I think more productive. It's a waste of life. What is it? What is it? What is the purpose in this if this is a holographic universe and this is a school, why are you wasting it not studying anything? I mean, everything I'm saying, I hope people pay attention to, but I hope also people add on to. Because there's a lot of things I could be missing. And I'm not going to be correct about everything. I could be off about certain things, and if I am, I come back and I say, hey, I apologize, I was wrong about that, I was wrong about the facts, which very rarely happens because, again, I was a military man. But I keep an open mind. I don't close my mind specifically to anything. I do keep an open mind. But I honestly do believe that this place that we're in, this life that we're experiencing, based on the experiences of my life, based on experiences in the military, on my experiences on research, which began in the military when I started opening my eyes to the world. Because before then I was just in America, in this little thought bubble. And then I went out there and saw what the real world was like. What people were really going through. What people were really having to do in order just to survive and eat. And while we're over here in this nice little bubble playing basketball and sports and shit. And they're over there literally starving and fucking getting shot at every day. And bombs going off down their street every day. It's bullshit. I mean, I don't know how to change those people's minds to make them stop thinking the way they think. Other than to say, open your heart up and stop thinking with this. Balance them. Because you are an energetic being. The feeling comes from a chemical and energetic reaction that is released from glands in your brain and from signals that are sent energetically from your brain. It's time to use them. We're becoming these soulless, zombie, ice fucking freaks, man. Don't get me wrong. I got nothing wrong with freaks. Freaks are cool people. They're open-minded. Some of them are a little too open-minded, but I won't go there. I won't judge people. I don't want to judge people. I want to judge the people who are mindlessly walking around clueless. That's the people I want to judge. And I don't want to be the judge of them. I just want to say, hey, I want to tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, man, I wish I could just like download all the information I have to you. And then, but I don't want to do that. I want to teach people. I want people to click the page themselves. I want people to come to my page with their own free will. And I ain't looking for donations. I ain't looking for no money. I ain't looking for no fame. I'm not looking for anything but to fill you with knowledge. And to get things off my own chest, and maybe to pass something on to my children. Even though I have a lot of curse words in it and stuff, but when they're old enough and they understand, maybe it won't be such a big deal. I hope. I'm not a bad person. I hope you're not a bad person. But if you are, and having sex doesn't make you a bad person. In fact, having normal amounts of sex is actually very healthy. I wouldn't say, whoring around is healthy, but safe, normal amounts is fine. If life is about sex to you, and that's all it's about, and that's all you're doing, and you want to do, then you should reevaluate it. If life is all about money to you, and if that's all you're getting in life, and nothing else is positive coming your way, you need to rethink. The money, broken down on its smallest atom particle, is really just a string of energy, the same fucking string of energy that's part of your skin. It's the same thing. And we just value it because we have that mental value for it. Literally, thought was manifested during the Big Bang. That's what it was. Thought was manifested. The Creator thought, bam, it was manifested. And so it was. Much like when you meditate and you, bam, go into this crazy world and you manifest this crazy world. It's quite possible that the Creator did the same thing and just meditated and, bam, created this fucking alternate universe for us. So if I can meditate and have these alternate universe experiences, these remote viewing experiences, if other people can do it better than me, if other people are more aware and conscious than I am, then I know for sure it's going on. Because I'm experiencing it myself. Does that make me crazy? No, it doesn't make me crazy. I'm an intelligent person. I know that that is not the real reality that I currently live in, the physicality. And it may very well be related or linked to my reality somehow. But right now I do live in this physical shell, in this physical body, experiencing this life lesson. So, it's important. I mean, you do have to really... I'm not saying the physical world doesn't matter. That's what I'm trying to say. The physical world does matter. And what you do here does matter. So, take that for what you will. I mean, the people around the world that are chopping people's heads off and eating people's hearts out, I mean, they may be thrown back into a universe where that thing may very well happen to them. You see what I'm saying? So is that necessarily hell? No. It's more like an energetic balance. Eye for an eye. What you do to others will happen to you. So it's really important to understand that. You have to understand that. You have to. Just respect other people. Are you going to have arguments here and there? Are you and your girl going to have arguments because you live together all the time? Yes. But respect each other. People can still be mad and argue, but still respect each other. You don't have to take it to violence. You don't have to take it to very nasty words. And I try very hard not to. But sometimes I catch myself doing it as well. I'm going to be honest. I'm an honest person. I try to be the most honest that I can be. You know, I've told little white lies, I'm not gonna lie. Hell, I've even told lies. So, but I'm man enough to admit that I've done that. Within the last, I would say, 5 years of my life, I've tried very hard not to lie about anything. So, try to be honest. And I see this transition happening to me, and this awakening moment. It's called Awaken Aware, I call it. This moment where I was just sitting there thinking, like like Sir Isaac Newton was sitting there thinking underneath the tree. You know, I had one of those moments where I was sitting there thinking, and something came to me, and it was a vision, a meditation vision. And in the vision, you know, I saw mainly it was just patterns and colors. That was the first visual meditative experience that I had after I had smoked some cannabis, and a buddy of mine told me to meditate with him. You know, I was skeptical at first. You know, I was like, no, I'm not interested in that. You know, he's like, man, you just need to try it, man. Just try it. And there was just something about the energy, you know, and there's something about the energy of anybody who meditates, and you can pick up on it. It's much like a signal, like a beacon. They're friendly. They're calm. They're not outspoken. They don't necessarily force to speak themselves to other. You know, people like me, I don't speak to other people because I'm bored or because I don't, you know, I only speak to them unless I either, one, have something to say to them, or I want to start a conversation with them, a respectful conversation. You know, meaning respectful. If they don't want to have a conversation, then don't have a conversation with them. Plain and simple. But you know, people demand answers most of the time. They demand, and I would too in certain situations. But again, everything that you're experiencing is just information that was uploaded from a thought, possibly maybe multiple thoughts at once, all happening now at once. That's why we're all separate. That's why we're all individual. Maybe we're all different thoughts happening at once. Or maybe we're thoughts that were created, manifested from our parents. See, that's the thing. Our parents thought they loved one another, so they got together. They thought that it would be okay to have sex with each other, so they had sex with each other. And they thought that there was a possibility that they might have a baby, and therefore there was a baby. And I think that the same process with the creator is happening as well. Are there multiple creators? Possibly. I don't know. The Law of One talks about what's called builder gods. There's different types of creators. I don't know. All I know is that the one that created us, or the one that is in charge of creating us, let's put it that way. Could have been multiple hands at work. But the one who's the head honcho, the one who's the architect, the builder, is very much still there. He's out there. And it may not be a he, it could be a she. I'm not going to be chauvinistic about that, because I've had many images of women. So, in meditations and dreams. Really crazy. I mean, I've seen some E.T. looking women that would make our women on Earth look ugly. Let me put it that way. Women with fiery red hair. It was like a red aura to them, a pinkish aura to them. Their skin was just like a bluish, yellowish, like golden tint. The most immaculate thing I've ever seen in my life. It would make an Earth woman, it would put her to shame. That's for sure. Very seductive as well. Well, during the meditation, I was very seduced by this woman. And I've seen both the good and the evil version of this woman. And it was a very strange experience, but I won't even get into that right now. All I want to say is that you guys can have these experiences, and you can relate them to your real life. There's a thing called intermingling spirituality with science, and I think that's exactly what's happening right now. People are waking up. They're bringing the one. They're not fighting for just the one side anymore or the other. It's not about religion or science anymore. They're trying to bring them together and saying, okay, well, let's explain this. Let's explain it logically. Let's scientifically explain it through experiments, through investing a lot of money and technology into exploring what's going on, which we should be doing. If we were to put the amount of money we put into defense, if we were to put into like free energy and mining other like planets, exoskeleton planets that are just sitting there with wonderful amounts of like material for us to mine off of them, why aren't we doing that? Why? There's freaking exoplanets within our own solar system, or not our own solar system, within our own galaxy, that have a massive amount of resources that maybe we even are mining right now. I'm not even going to get into it. I have heard that we actually have a space command that is not just the space station that we have up there, the Hubble Space Station that we have up there. That's just a front for what our current space station is, which is nowhere even near planet Earth. So I won't even get into that. Sounds lunatic fringe, but there is some evidence. There's some reports from high-ranking whistleblowing officials that say it's possible that this is going on. And it sounds crazy, folks. I know it does. But what's crazier than sitting on a tiny blue dot and this black void of stars and galaxies and sun, planets, asteroids, and all this weird random crap spread out everywhere in this seemingly infinite and random experience that we're having right now. So, the universe is, I don't think it's infinite. I think it has a limit. It's called the Big Bounce. It's like a heartbeat. Have you ever noticed that the heartbeat on a mouse is much smaller than a human? It's like 160 beats per second, I believe. 180 maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's smaller, I don't know. It's much faster than a human beat. A human heart, which is like 60 beats per minute, I believe. And then an elephant is like 20 something, I believe, maybe 30, I don't know. But the bigger the being, the slower the heartbeat. So imagine if we're living inside of a giant being right now, the universe. That the universe is one giant living being that we're living in and experiencing life in right now. And just imagine the process. Imagine the universe expanding like the Big Bang. It blew up. It's still expanding today. And then one day it's going to go boom, 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 boom. It's called the Big Bounce theory. We could be living in one massive, and the heartbeat is literally billions, maybe even trillions of years on our time scale. That's how massive this being is. So you see, a little tiny mouse has this really rapid heartbeat because it's really small, but the bigger the physical bodies get, the slower the heartbeats get. So if we are living in this massive physical body this holographic, massive physical body, because everything, again, is broken down on the smallest form is really just a string theory, but everything, we're getting into the spirituality of things right now. And we can bring the two together, because when I say that the universe is literally beating like a heart, I mean that we are living inside of a creature, a being that is living, and that it is possible that during the heartbeat that we're experiencing life, feeling, emotion, much like we do when, you know, we experience life and we observe things. So, I mean, I don't know. We could be living in a giant being that's generated, again, densities. We can get into densities, which is another thing. Fourth density, fifth density, goes way up there, maybe up to 11, I believe, possibly more. And supposedly there's an infinite amount of octaves in each density, meaning there's no limit to the amount of information one could obtain in each density. Only to the point to where it's limited to, how would you say? I think that the third density is really the only, maybe second density could experience true knowledge. I think that even third density, people like me and you, couldn't even begin to understand true reality nature. I can't even go there. But I'm talking about what's going on now, right here, right now. This heartbeat that we're living in, the big bounce, this massive being, literally, that's so massive compared to us. There's millions of creatures inside of your body swimming around, making sure that life works for you. And we may be part of that, you know, on a much different scale. To a point, you know, I'm not saying that, you know, and the physical body probably is nothing like our physical body. But it does have the sense that it has this energetic pattern of life, a heartbeat of some sort, a beat. And this beat, when it goes back in, recycles things completely back down to the singularity. And then goes back out. Just like our heart contracts and retracts, contracts and retracts. I mean, it's very possible. I don't know. And even, you know, we have to add the science in there too, the technological, the physics. Is that physically possible? Then you realize, well, if things are just energetic vibrating strings, then maybe that what, you know, the body that it's experiencing it as well may have some, you know, that's the reason why we have the physics we have, is because of its body and the way it maintains us. So, I mean, and the way we're shelled in it. I don't know. And it could be in a different environment, like the environment it's living in. And it might not even have eyes and nose and ears like me and you. You got to think about life on a much different, more intelligent level. So, I can't even go there. That's way too much for you. That's mental madness. Too much. It's up there, guys. But yeah, it's positive. I really like. I want to just talk about something positive today, because there is a lot of negative, evil bullshit going on out there. People know this information. The things that I'm talking about, the scientists who are telling the government officials what they're discovering, those government officials then decide what they want to do with that information. You know? And you've seen that we've used nuclear energy for two different reasons. One for creating energy, and the other one for destroying things. So it's, you know, we need to stop making that habit of using both the negative and the good, and just use the good. And we need to make sure that we can do it in a safe way to where nobody could be harmed, and that everything could contain itself if anything went wrong. You know, I mean, like these Fukushima Daiichi and all that bullshit, like, you know. Why not build a space station outside the planet that has tubes running down into it or something? So that if a nuclear explosion went off, it went off way off in space, or some radiation bullshit went way off in space. I don't know. Again, but that's still contaminating the creature that you live in. So again, if we do live in a physical being, or even a spiritual being, what's called an astral being, which I believe we live in an astral being, we are the physical representations of the astral being, a thought being manifested by it, much like we manifest our own thoughts. See, even though we think that we are just this shell, really we're just thoughts. We're just a mind. We're just a heart, a soul. We're just energetic beings transferring information. And I think it's time for people to wake the fuck up. It's mental madness out there, folks. I mean, the games that these people are playing with you, the life that you're living, I'm not saying that you need to change your life completely. Is it important to work, to contribute to society? Absolutely. Is it important to maintain a clean and safe environment? Absolutely. It's not important to infringe upon people's free will. If it doesn't concern you, don't worry about it. If they didn't ask for your help, don't help them. If you ask them for help and they say no, don't help them anyways. Don't just do what you feel like you want to do because you feel that's the right thing to do. It's, it's different if you're going to see a baby drowning. You have to go help that baby because you know that baby doesn't even know how to swim. You know that baby has no way of defending itself or protecting itself. You have to be the one to take, action in order to save that baby's life. And, I think the same thing can happen to us on a much higher level. Meaning that I think that the Creator himself can choose how to heal certain parts of his physical body, his astral body, which we're living in. And if we contaminate it, he'll get sick, just like we get sick. So, I mean, it's much like if I'm eating nothing but bad food, I'm going to get sick and have diarrhea. If I'm not drinking enough water, I'm not going to have the right, I'm going to have bladder problems, I'm going to have dehydration, I'm going to have bowel problems. The same type of problems, not per se the same type, but the same problems could still happen to the Creator. We could be still killing it, could still be infecting it. So I think that, again, and what do you do when you have a bad apple? You throw it out. So the Creator will do what he's got to do to throw it out. If it's a bad apple, you're not going to eat it. It's going to be poison. So you have to remember that. And I'm not saying that you got to be this fucking hoorah Christian going around, oh, I love Jesus, blah, blah, blah. Which, whatever. If that's what you want to do, you're entitled to do it. But open your mind. Jesus was one man. He was probably the very first man who actually meditated on this planet to the point to where he became fully aware. And he probably had that information because he was a hybrid of an extraterrestrial. This genetic information was there. Or it was passed through him genetically. Artificial insemination. How do you think Mary got pregnant? Artificial insemination is the only scientific explanation. And if you put science and religion together, you realize, well, she was artificially inseminated, but they didn't have the technology to artificially inseminate. Because we can do that now. If it's possible for us to do that now, then how is it not possible for the Creator to do the same? If it's possible for us to create new species today, how is it not possible for the Creator to create his own species? If we can clone and copy species today, how come the Creator can't do that? So, I mean, we are almost to the point to where we're intelligent enough to create our own new life, much less we have to realize the fact that it's possible that someone created us. And it's not a religious thing, it's just a common sense thing. It's just a fucking common sense thing, people. Wake up. This is a beautiful world. It's a beautiful universe. We don't want to kill it off. We don't want to kill ourselves off. Things are naturally going to die off. I think there's an age limit to even this being that we currently live in. But in the end, maybe it's just going through a lesson too. And it's just much... Who knows, folks? Who knows? how deep the rabbit hole goes. But we know there's one. We know that there's a rabbit hole. And we need to accept that, folks. We need to wake up and realize there is a rabbit hole. And if we put our minds and our energy and our money, which is bullshit anyways, into doing this stuff, then we'll get it done. And we'll figure out that we are what we once used to be, which was pure human beings. Clean human beings with, with telepathic capabilities, with telecommunication capabilities, with space travel, with all types of astronomical knowledge at our fingertips, all types of technological marvels at our fingertips. These all once existed before, and they've suppressed this information from you. Many civilizations have come and gone on this planet, and many civilizations have risen and fallen on this planet, and we are now finding evidence of things like the Great Pyramid, things that couldn't be built with things like tools and chisels and shit like we thought they could be. Like, these things are sophisticated. These things are carved out with precision, and there's a sacred geometry going on to them. A sacred geometry. We can't even build the Great Pyramids today with the technology we have. I mean, we probably could, but it would take a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of resources. It would probably still take us a lot of time to do it, even with our own technology. It would take us a lot of time. How they did it with tools and chisels and people who are wearing diapers and shit, I don't fucking know. You tell me. In a lifetime, too, much less a pharaoh's lifetime, which was only like 30 or 40 years back then. How the fuck did they build a pyramid in 30 to 40 years? If the mathematics add up and say that it would at least take 70 years to build something like that, with at least like a million people, I think. I don't know the exact math. Go look it up, folks. It's impossible for a pharaoh's lifetime to build one of those fucking pyramids. But yet they built them for tombs for them? No. They happen to be pointing at the stars, the star belt constellation Orion, lining up perfectly back then. Now they don't, because over the time through the ages of the zodiac, as we've shifted, they've off-centered. But back then, when they were built, the stars of the three Orion belt were right over the Great Pyramid. And they were sending messages, and there were shafts pointing out to Sirius, another constellation. And other shafts pointing out to other constellations. I mean, we once had the technology to literally communicate with the gods, except for they weren't gods. They were beings like me and you, except for they were much more advanced. And they took advantage of the dumber beings and took our resources like gold, which is why the Egyptians loved gold, and they stored it and mined it. And many other civilizations. Excuse me. We all love gold, right? That's because there's a special technological property to gold that people don't know about. And I think it has something to do with space travel, and maybe even like part of the spaceships. I don't know. To put it too simply, it's like the biggest. I mean, it's the heaviest, one of the heavier metals out there, so it's pretty dense. You might be able to work things for, technological purpose. And I think it's a really good superconductor too. So, I don't know. But either way, gold has a special technological property. And it also has monetary value, so, because it looks pretty, it's shiny. But the process to make gold takes a supernova or above, literally a sun blowing up, in order to create gold. That's the process it took in order to create just small flakes of gold, small particles of gold that end up eventually clumping together. So, I mean, to be honest with you, people I love you guys. And I want to see you succeed, and I want to see your children succeed, and I want to see mankind succeed. And I want you people to wake up. And when I say you people, I mean everybody. Everybody. Just take a look at your life and take a look at, I'm not saying you have to change your religion. Make it fit in your religion. Make it fit in your religion. If that's the way you want to believe, Make it fit in there. Bring the logic and the rationality with the spirituality together, and you'll see that your life will actually start working. Meditating and prayer is okay. I don't actually. I mean, to me, prayer does help in certain situations, but I think meditation really is much more of a useful tool. It's prayer like on steroids. You're praying on steroids. So, except for you're actually having visual experiences and sometimes even auditory, depending on, what. But the reality broken down, guys and girls, is stranger than anything you've ever thought of. And we're learning. We are learning a lot, and we could still be wrong about a lot of things. Everything I could have been saying tonight could be just a very small explanation of the things that are really going on. But I'm trying to explain the basics. I'm trying to explain to the people that if they understood the things that I'm telling them, and if they tried to utilize their brain to think about these things every now and then, and I'm not saying all the time, I think about them a lot because I'm infatuated. I love the universe. I look at it in awe and wonder how we got here and what's going on. So I've been through a lot of crap in my life too. A lot of negativity and a lot of bullshit. A lot of mental madness, folks. And I want to expose people for what they are. I want to expose the negativity, bring in the positivity. I'm not saying we all need to be hippies, hug trees and stuff. We need resources. We need these things to survive. We need these things to improve our life. Should we abuse them? No. Should we make sure that we're replacing as much as we take? Absolutely. And I think that we could find a way to do that. Except for certain things like, elements like gold, super rare metals, which we can even mine off of exoskeleton planets that are just sitting there with nothing. If we could find a way to send robots over there to mine all that shit, then that'd be sweet. Bringing piles of gold and diamond back to planet Earth, and even other elements that we haven't even discovered yet. So, come on, guys. I mean, it could be a great universe out there, man. It could be an awesome time. We could be doing the right thing. And I know there's people out there that are going to hate, but hey, what are you going to do, You can at least try, right? I got nothing to hide. I mean, I've done bad things. I think everybody has done some bad things. I was in the military and I made some poor decisions. So, but now is now. Now I learn, move on. I have no criminal background whatsoever, at all. Maybe some. I think I had like one juvenile problem, and I think it was a prank call. I got in trouble for prank calling. That's what it was. Yep. And that was my one incident I've ever had with a police officer. Other than that, up until my 17th year, I was in the, with my parents. Well, for the most part, with my mom and my stepfather. And at 17 years old, right out of school, I joined the military. And from May 23rd of 2000 to May 23rd of 2008, I was active duty Army, parachutist. And, those things, experiencing life, experiencing all of that crap that's going on out there, experiencing the knowledge that I received, the information that I got access to, woke me up to what's going on, what people are doing, the orders that are being given, and the time that's being wasted right now. I mean, it's just a waste of time, what we're doing. Most of us, are wasting our lives away, literally wasting, and they will have to come back and do all this shit again. And I feel bad for them, man. I feel bad for them. And I may even have to come back and do this stuff again. And that sounds bad, but I could be wrong. But I don't try to say, I'm not saying that I don't feel like what I'm saying is right, because I feel honestly like the experience in my life. These are my opinions, and these are experiences and the meditations that I've had and recorded, and I explain the things that I feel I need to get out. In the most honest way I can. I mean, I could be wrong about things, but I feel like for the most part I'm right on, because I know I've seen a lot of things in the military, and how compartmentalized it is, and how certain people get access to information and while others don't, while working on a project and not even knowing what the project is, but they're working on it. I mean, just things like that. So, it's like putting 50 scientists in a room, in 50 different rooms, to build one machine. But the 50 different scientists each have 50 different parts that they got to put together. And they don't tell the scientists what the parts are for. They just say, build this part. That's your part. And then once they're all brought together, there's another science group with higher clearance that actually puts it together. And then the people who authorize the operation of these projects are the head honchos. So, and you don't know who the head honchos are, because they're not the government, that's for sure. There is a battle of good, positive, and negative going on. The battle of positive and negative, folks. So I suggest you listen to some Tool, you listen to some good music, meditate, find a way to open your mind, and maybe you can teach me something. Maybe you can teach everybody else something. Maybe there's something I'm missing. Maybe there's something you can add or take away from. And constructively, please. I know there's trolls out there. Yeah, I got your numbers, trolls. It's fine. I ain't worrying about you. I ain't tripping. See that hat? You don't want to meet me a real person. I'm gonna be a troll in my face. But I ain't making no threats. I'm just saying, be a nice person, and we avoid negativity. Period. Constructive criticism I can take, and that's one thing that I'm very fond of. Most people can't take constructive criticism. Hey, I think that what you said there might have been a little wrong because this, and that, and then I could disagree or agree, but constructively. So. But we don't do that anymore. It's more like I want to take you outside and punch you in your fucking face. And I want to hit you. I want to shoot you in the face. Let's go to war. Wake up, folks. It's mental madness. It's mental madness, folks. I know. What's going on? Wake up. I'm your host, Mad Max. This has been Mental Madness. Stay tuned for next time. We got a lot more coming for you.